I've been asked to give you a 13 top team that I've coached. I've got to pick 5 teams like this that beat all each other. I hope you recognise how difficult this has been. So, my number 1 fullback for the teams that I've coached is Michael Withers. Why Michael Withers and not something like Paul Wellens, the great, and I mean great St Helens fullback? Mick Withers, slinky skills, lovely movement, was nicknamed the Ghost, played for 7 years at the top of our game and won that so many games for the Bradford Bulls and scored multiple tries. Mickey Withers is your fullback. Okay, here we go. Who's on the wing? I'm going to lump them together because it was hard to separate them, but I just cannot forget the impact that Tavita Vaikona and Leslie Vinacolo had for the Bradford Bulls and for their national teams. They were both New Zealand internationals, remember. Les was a freak, we all know that, a physical freak. I was speaking to Richard Whiting recently, and he was saying Nathan Blacklock, who played at Hull for a while, said, listen, he conceded 4 tries against Les in the cup game the week before, says, I think I've got his number now. And then Les went and scored 6 tries the week after against him. So you just couldn't kick to him. If he caught the ball, he could go 100 in 10 seconds. And Tavita Vaikona, well, he had everything. He could play a little bit of centre, but predominantly when you had those 2 blokes bringing the ball back for your team, it was like tackling front rowers. And I think if you go around the game and the size, they were 16, 17 stone and lightningly quick. Tavita had great feet and side steps, and my first grand final broke the game wide open against Wigan and scored the try that really took us apart from the Wigan. We were gone at half time and over the line. So centres, wow. Okay, Keith Senior gets a berth. The Great Britain centre, the lead centre for many years. Unbelievable record with his home club. Spent a lot of time as a Bradford coach and a Wigan coach, hating him. But then when you get him in the international camp, you think, yeah, this kid can play. Big, strong, raw-boned, made opportunities. The big ball man gets a run in the centre. Who's the other centre? Well, I thought Leslie was the player he was because of this guy. And there were so many candidates for this. You got to think of Martin Gleeson had an outstanding career as an international, an outstanding player for St Helens. But Shontaine Harper, the New Zealand international, came over to Bradford as a young 19, 20-year-old, a starlet who'd been injured, and cemented his place in Super League psyche, really. Everybody would say, stop Les and you stop the Bulls. Not quite true, because Shontaine Harper was a super footballer, good feet, good step, good skills, and complemented what Leslie did. So I couldn't really separate them. So my scrum half, or the number 7 if you like, I'm going to give to Sean Long. Now, if I was being loyal and true and being a club coach, I would absolutely every day of the week give it to Paul Deacon. He organised, he was structured, he was intelligent, he could kick a ball, he could play Deeks, and but why have I picked Sean Long in front of him? Well, as a game breaker is Long. We know that. He too had a great kicking game and that belief that he could change a game at any moment in time. So when you're lining up against an opposition, first and foremost, your halfbacks have got to be a threat. The 6th berth, every day of the week I should have gone for Henry Paul. He's one of the greatest players we've ever produced, but he doesn't get the berth. What am I doing? Who am I picking that's better than Henry Paul? Trent Barrett. I'm sure you remember the Australian that came to Wigan for 2 years. Outstanding man, outstanding athlete, great footballer, great team player, but also with that sidestep and that ability to break a game open, that speed as well. All the women, I think the women will agree with me, wasn't bad looking either, was he, girls? So I had to put a good looker in there for you. Not that you're not Henry, I think you're a fair good looker yourself, son. All right, let's go to the pack. One of the best back rowers I ever coached was a fellow called Jamie Peacock coming through, and the adversity and trials and tribulations is well documented everywhere. Great leader. I picked him in the front row, and I'm reminded of that 2006 test and what he did in relation to when Stuart Fielding got a biff on the chin and he went down, and Jamie Peacock stepped in. A great leader, willed himself on every game he ever played with, whether it was for Bradford, where he was very, very successful, and his subsequent career at Leeds. I'm confident everybody recognises what a superb leader he was and what a superb player. The number 9 I'm going to go for is that cranky devil from Leeds, and he played at Bradford for 10 years and was probably the heartbeat of the team. the angry little number 9, James Lowes. I thought he was a superb player. I thought he was a good defender. He was hard work to manage sometimes because he was so competitive. But he ran the team. He ran a lot of big people. And when you're 5'9" and you're running them and you're bossing them and they're blinking and thinking, I'm not going to mess with this guy. That's why Jimmy gets it. It's a no-brainer, absolute no-brainer. So my other front rower is, well, you wouldn't miss him. I think if you went and saw him in Auckland now, you'd have to drive round him. His nickname's surely the Roundabout, Joe Vangana. And it used to be Joe Vagana, but Robbie Paul taught me that no, it's actually Vangana. So I have to say it in the right way. Unbelievable skills for a front rower. The people's elbow, where he used to just lift his elbow and people fell off him. That's a big front row. How do I complement that with a back row? Well, I'm going back to when I coached at Wigan and 2 young blokes that pretty much came through at the same time. I'm going to pick Gareth Hock. Now, there's a few people going, are you crazy? He's mad. You can't pick him. He's mad. He's Hock. He's just one of the most consummate, skilled back rowers you've ever seen. The Aussies hated him in 2006 because he stood up to them. I'm leaving Wigan for now. No, I'll go straight to Sean O'Loughlin. He's the loose forward. I'm sticking him at the back. If you want to play tough, give it to Sean O'Loughlin. If you want some pass plays and some skill, old-fashioned loose forward type, give it to Sean O'Loughlin. You want a little short kick? Okay, give it to Sean O'Loughlin. He's the glue that would melt. They would melt around him, this team. Such another leader in the proportion of Jamie Peacock. The other side of the back row, tried to sign him about 5 times for different teams. Was beaten by the punch to Leeds Rhinos, but Gareth Ellis has to be one of the most consummate pros. And what you forget about Gaz is he's a big man as well. He's got small human beings for legs. He can run. He was quick when he was younger. He was a centre, remember? So he had that dexterity in his hands for skill, etc., etc. So he was Player of the Year twice in the NRL for the West Tigers. And you got to pick him. You've got to pick him because he's conquered the world as well as conquered the international stage, as well as still doing the business now for Hull. So I had to pick a bench that would complement all of that team. Bear in mind what we've got. We've got blistering pace, size. People are already saying, oh, you only pick big uns, you only pick big uns. Well, a good big un horse beats a good little un, trust me. You only pick quick. I mean, Leslie Vinicolo was a 10-second 100 at 18 stone. Yeah, you stop him. You do your best.